One of the things that I love about winter is watching black people warm up.
Yeah?
All right?
They warm like this.
Why? Why are they trying to out the fire? I have a better one. What's this one do?
It just sends the, the blood circulating in your
No,
shoulder.
it doesn't. But there's lots of people that have rheumatoid arthritis. So doing this actually makes it more painful.
No, maybe they don't have it.
Okay, what about this one then? Why that one? 10 of 10.
You see, when you move, you don't feel the cold. When you move, you don't feel it. If you're staying still, you feel it. But wow.
So let me ask you a quick question. And I know that at times you've accused me of being belligerent towards you.
At times, it's all the time.
Okay, well then let's be consistent.
Yeah. Tell me about the belligerent.
What will those gloves do for you?
Keep my hands. Well, I didn't have any old gloves, so I was in hoping that they might keep my hands warm, but boy, they're not warm at all.
So PPEs have become
PPEs. Yeah, they knew, because everybody has to wear PPE. He said, please put here. ERE.
So just so I'm clear, Pastor Lauren, because you don't want to shake people's hands, you've now made
well
those gloves.
The thing is, I picked these gloves up this morning, not really picking them up to carry them with me. I was giving somebody gloves at church, and then I had these on. So I put them up so they were a little soiled, so let me wear them. Don't give them away now. So I put them on just for show, and I kept them on, and you see, it's freezing.
So just so I'm clear, from church to your car, you would have had to start the vehicle, open the door.
No, I don't start.
Not once
I don't
did you
start
say to yourself, wow,
no, I don't
I
start
have on PPE gloves, let me take them off?
No, because the car, hey, let me tell you something. I saw a lady, right somewhere here at the mall. She came out of the shop, all right? She had gloves on.
Yeah.
She took off her gloves. She took up her sanitizer.
Yeah.
She sanitized her hands. She wiped down her steering wheel. She put and I was in my car, so I was looking. And she put the old sanitizing thing in a garbage bag.
Yeah.
Then she reached in her purse, picked up a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah, because if you're gonna go out, let it be because of a cough.
Yeah.
Unrelated to COVID.
Yeah. Nothing related
We
to
hope
COVID.
that she sees this.
I
So
hope she sees this.
let me ask you this other question then.
You like my hat though?
Why do all Jamaicans have the flap up? It's like all of you guys had like dreams of being pilots, but no plane.
Well, the plain thing about it is this. You have to dream.
Yeah.
You have to dream. But you see, sometimes we forget to put it down because you don't remember it's up there. So I got mine down. Look at this. Somebody gave me this hat some months ago. I don't
That's
know
why
who
you
did.
have those gloves on.
I want to thank them, but they need to give me gloves
These
too.
are the only
They give me
gloves that could tie something like that
No.
externally.
Yeah, but I have gloves. I just forgot to bring my gloves. And this doesn't make sense.
Well, okay.
But these can be used to, touch places and that. Throw them away.
So let me ask you this question then. Put your gloves on the table.
They won't stay though, because they're not blowing.
No, that's okay. You can put my phone on your glove. Okay, put them on there.
Take your time. Take your time. Oh, this one have a hole already. Oi.
So if that
It's
glove has a
cold,
hole,
man. It's cold.
that's maybe why you shouldn't rub so fast.
I know. I think I was
That's
trying
what
to pull it off.
happens when you never got your master guide honor.
I see. Okay, so here's the
All
thing.
right,
Now.
there, put them on the table.
Put it on the table.
Put them on the table. I'm
They always
ready.
talk about
I'm
putting
ready.
the cards
I'm
on the
ready.
table.
There
Okay.
it is. Now, because of the generation that you grew up in,
Yes.
I know that you're accustomed to taking licks. Not just because of your overall behavior, but culturally, the more licks you get, it's almost like the more Jamaican you've become. So let me just organize this thing here. I'm not trying to be intrusive.
Just you're being abusive now.
Well, sure, that too.
Yeah.
Intrusive is better than abusive.
That's
So
right, I
here's
know.
the thing.
Yeah.
If you were gonna get a thump, with a glove,
With glove or without?
which one of these would you prefer to take a thump with?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't want the thumb. But if I had to choose, I take this one because I have more cushion.
You know, the mere fact that you actually thought about that, you've been through a lot. No, but here's the thing though, this is the type, okay, I actually think this would be the worst glove.
You think so?
Because when you take a thump with this, there's no bruise, but there's fractures on the x-ray.
But you see, this one fracture more, this one is even worse. This one at least has something to cushion to you don't feel it so much.
See, with this one here, you know what I would do if I were your parents?
Yeah.
And it's not that I want to thump you. I'm just talking about
You're just pretending.
hypothetically.
Pretend to thump me.
I would put some like pennies or quarters.
You're wicked.
So as I give you a thump, you just see the 25 cents on your cheek.
But you know, if our parents, listen, if my grandmother If my grandmother were living today,
Yeah.
the beating she gave me, she'd be in jail now.
No, she wouldn't.
Yeah, man, because that's abuse, man.
No. Cause see,
I mean, when your grandmother beat you, right? With anything that comes in her hands, anything she gets hold of. I mean, one day she hit me so hard, and my father told her, never touch me again. You think she listened? She never listened one
She
bit.
probably beat your dad.
Oh, yeah, she would have done.
Your dad taking beating from his mother.
Yeah, while I'm looking at. So she would be,
Yeah.
but you know the thing about it,
Yeah.
she didn't only beat you, they had some other punishment for you. Like
really?
make you stand in the corner. You want to see how to stand in the corner?
Yeah, shoulders.
Yeah,
But make sure you shake your shoulders because it's cold.
You face the corner like this, alright? And you lift your right leg and hold it so. And you take your right hand and take your right hand to hold your left ear like this.
Where in Jamaica?
Yeah, and you must shake. And every time you shake, you get a lick.
No, what do you think the camera? Please come and sit down.
That's part of the punishment.
I've never heard of that. That's a whole different corporate
But that's punishment.
Yeah. So,
But you know the other punishment that's worse? You have to kneel on a grate. You know a grater?
oh yeah.
You kneel on it
Really?
and hold two stones in your hand like this. That's another
Is
punishment.
that why you have such a strong back?
So when I kneel, I don't need kneeling pads.
Because here's the thing.
Yeah.
In the culture, and we could laugh about it, right? But in the culture, there's some things that we have to really erase at some point.
So let's talk. Let's talk
Yeah,
about
let's
that.
talk about this.
Because I believe that we have a good culture.
Yeah, there's a lot of good things about the culture.
I believe that you should not spare the rod and spoil the child. I believe that.
Okay.
But I don't believe that it should be torture and it should be abusive.
Yeah.
I think there is a time when you have to you have to discipline.
But you know what though? Can I just say this? I think that kind of corporal punishment, it's inherited. And it's something that's passed along through slavery. Right? And the truth is, I don't see the slave master dealing with their children
The way they deal with
the way that we deal with
Without
our
children.
children.
Yeah.
Right? So, the reality is, and sure, it's funny because we know that there's some people that take up box,
Anything they get.
anything. And it's funny.
But listen now. You think through slavery
Yeah.
we learn to be violent?
I think that violence is a part of every culture.
Oh.
Right? I don't want to make the slave
Okay,
master
okay.
responsible for everything that is negative, right? There's some things that we've picked up along the way and there's many losses. But I think at the end of the day, this corporal punishment, I think dialogue works better than that.
Yeah, but there is a time when you really need to dialogue. But listen, if you have a 2-year-old and you're walking across the street and you tell them to hold your hand and they say, why dad? You're gonna dialogue with them for a while before you grab them and thing? Or you're gonna grab them and then
I'm
dialogue?
going to continue to dialogue because here's the thing. When a child acts that way in the street, you knew that they were that way before you got to the street. And sometimes through lazy parenting, we discipline our children to avoid the reality that we have fallen short. Right? So if you have your child from birth all the way until they're able to walk across the street, maybe 2 years of age, 3 years of age, and we're not talking about alone, right? But by the time they get to that point, you should have already put into them a desire to be obedient, not out of fear.
So you're saying communication should always be taking place?
It's an ongoing thing.
From before birth?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's how it is. I mean, you got to train the child the way he should go from that end. But I think some parents have not learned that.
Well, you know what? See, the challenge is, and this is where culture can either fail you or help you along. So deeply entrenched are certain things that we do as a culture that we don't even think about why are we doing that? Why do we continue to do that?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if everybody's doing something, we make the assumption that this must be all right. But you know what we need? We need some critical thinkers. Because the other extremity to it is that I think that perhaps abuse is also neglect. Right? So one extreme is this with the quarter. The heavy hand. The other extreme is one day they'll grow up, leave them, they'll figure it out. I think both extremities create a lawless society. Yeah,
that's true. So there has to be discipline. Right? But I think sometimes parents are not trained in being parents.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the challenges too when you have very young parents
Oh yeah.
who have not really been prepared for parenting.
Yeah.
And so their own way of discipline is part of the frustration that's coming out.
Yeah.
And trying to,
Yeah.
you know, come on, do this, come on, come on,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
And so that's important for them to learn. Even when you're a single parent, you can
Yeah.
learn to be a good parent.
But you know, this is where I feel, and this is my personal opinion, where the North American culture has failed the family. In most countries that you go to around the world, grandparents are intrinsically involved in the
life.
raising of children. Now, I'm not talking about the way we see it here, where kids drop off their kids and then they come back and pick them up in time for school Monday morning. I'm just talking about the fact that in many of the cultures, the grandparents are an extension of the parents. And so as a result of that, there's a certain level of patience, understanding, and application around discipline and learning that we don't see here. So, you know, a young couple over here, they're struggling to figure out how to do it because the parents are not involved.
You see, and that's why, you see, my grandmother,
Yeah.
that's my maternal grandmother, because my paternal grandmother died when I was just little.
Yeah.
So, and my grandfather died when I was about, my paternal grandfather died, he was old, so he didn't discipline anybody.
Yeah.
But my maternal grandmother
Yeah.
lived with us, you see.
Yeah.
So her house was over there, and we're living here, and you know, we'd always be at our place and her kitchen, and you know,
Yeah.
she's the one who pampers you. I mean,
Yeah.
I think she loved us really.
Yeah.
I mean, she was
Yeah.
disciplining us because she knows that if mother does it, father does it, grandpa, and even somebody on the street does it.
Yeah.
Because it's this whole village raising the child.
Yeah.
And we still need that village to raise the child today.
Yeah. And we need to push back a little bit, right? Because even though some things may look a little bit weird based on the culture around us, because our culture is not intact for a lot of different reasons, we have to really pull and make sure that we don't exclude the contributions of the generation before us.
But I have a question for you though.
Yeah, give me the question.
You used to get licks, don't you?
Oh yeah, of course I got licks. Listen, I'm so glad my mom doesn't know how to use the internet, but I tell you, sometimes I used to run out of that house. I'm sweet lady now, but she couldn't beat me now if she wanted to because she has a little bit of rheumatoid, so the mobility.
But she could thump you if you're next to her, though. She could thump
But that's
you.
one of the things I never do. I never have her in the blind spot. As a matter of fact, that's where I'm blind, in the blind spot.
Listen, you know, so I know you can get. I know you used to get licks.
I used to, but I know that you got more licks than me. The mere fact that in 2021, October, whatever the date is,
November.
you have PPE gloves that you're wearing on the outside and you're not flinching. Listen, I suspect that you may have taken some Kunta Kinte licks when you were young.
You know, one day, I was home for lunch for summer vacation. Summer vacation. My mother is a seamstress, right? So she's teaching these girls to sew, and I'm supposed to be reading my book, right? So she put me outside in the veranda to read. I read no book. But when my father came from up the road, she told him. My father called me. I decided to run. So I'm running through the fields. Think I'm fast?
No, you're not fast.
I fell.
But that's why they call you feeble T. Feeble T.
Yeah. I wasn't feeble though. It's just a mistake. So when I looked up, my father's standing over me. He grabbed me, man.
Yeah.
And he picked the nearest whip. And he beat
yeah.
me all the way back home. I
can only imagine it.
And then I had to go home and read the book now, going, stop the fetching up.
You know what? I would have loved to have been there. Because here's the thing. You wouldn't have had to walk and look for the switch. I would have brought it to your father to give to you. Because I'm one of those kids in the neighborhood that's just going to stand there while you're getting whipped. It doesn't faze me.
Hey, but listen, man, when we used to be in school, they used to send us to pick whip from the tree.
Yeah.
So these guys, some of the smart guys used to have a razor blade. So just make a little mark around every little nut of this whip. So not much, just little mark. So when the teacher hit you, he just break.
Are you serious?
Yeah, man. So teacher got to know that she wasn't going to send those boys to pick the whip.
So you've been kind of crooked for a long time because those guys sound like your friends. Because the way you said it, you didn't say like, wow, I can't believe they did it. You're like, yeah, man, everything Chris on
But no, but I used to be good, you know. But let me tell you one time, what happened to me in school one day. I'm sitting, like we're sitting here, facing the blackboard, and a row of guys in front, and I was in the third row. These guys were making noise, talking. Teacher writing on the board. She says, stop the talking. They wouldn't listen. About the third time, she picked up the cloth duster and threw it at the guy in front. The guy ducked, and big thing hit me right
Let
in
the
my
church
face.
say amen.
And guess what? Now,
See, the Lord always fights your battles for
the
you.
worst part.
No, finish the story.
The worst part of it was, I went home, complained to my mother how the teacher threw the dust. It's a cloth duster, right?
Yeah, of course.
Full of chalk,
Yeah.
dust. You think my mother said, "Well, if you were paying attention, you would see it coming."
You know what? That's why I love your mama. Listen, Pastor Lawrence, here's the reality. Whether it's this glove, or that glove,
Or this one.
or this glove,
Yeah.
I think it's time that we, as a community, start talking about what does discipline look like.
Yeah. I agree with that too, because I think
Yeah.
sometimes we spare the rod and spoil the child.
Yeah.
And sometimes we are too heavy with the rod and we
Yeah.
really damage the child.
Yeah.
So we need to teach parents how to be parents.
Yeah.
And I think they need to learn that even before they become parents.
Yeah.
You know, when I was becoming a father for the first time, I remember I went to every antenatal class with my wife. I read up all the things I could read. As a matter of fact, one day I wasn't with her, and she said, the nurse who was in charge of the class asked her, "Is your husband a doctor?" So,
Dr. Feeblety.
Listen, man, I'm not so feeble anyway. But anyway, that's the story. But I know that if parents study how to become parents, they'll be better parents.
Yeah.
And then older parents need to interact with younger parents.
Yeah.
So you need to set up that group, and I think that's one of the talking points. Have in your groups, in your churches, in your whatever it is, where you can have older mentoring younger.
But you know what, you raised another point, and maybe I want to throw this out, and I know we can't resolve this as a part of this conversation, but this is the damage of the diaspora moving, right? Because I find that community is more intact. Even though we know in the Caribbean things have changed, and people say, "Oh, I can't talk to kids anymore because parents don't want you." Yeah, still yet, as a culture, I find that the village works better in the islands, in the continent of Africa and other places around the world. But you see, because we've moved, I don't know if I could trust you know, whoever you are, right? Because what I may think is a good way to discipline, you may have a different way, and you may not even love my child the way that I love my child. So I can't take my chance, whether it's this one or this one. And you know what? I get paid on the 25th. I'm going to get you some gloves, or that one. I don't know whether or not I could trust you at any level of discipline, because I'm just getting to know you, and I only see you at church.
But that's where the whole church thing is important. You see? We call ourselves brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
We have to act that way.
Yeah.
You know, so we can learn. You can't trust everybody, you know that. But at least you can have that interaction, because I know our children, for instance, have a lot of people they call aunt and uncle. And then as they grow older, they ask, "Is that person aunt or uncle?"
That's right.
My senior pastor, right?
Yeah.
Who, when I was a young pastor, he's in BC now. Malcolm Pedler. Man, God bless Malcolm.
Big up Malcolm.
Yeah. When I was going to his house, every Friday I used to go to his house to print things for church, for youth department. So one day I went there, and his daughter Gillian lives here in Toronto. She came to, she said, "Oh, Dad, Errol is here." So he said, "Gillian, say Uncle Errol."
Right.
So Gillian looks at him, looks at me. "Is Uncle Errol your brother?" So he said, "Yeah." Then she says, well, how comes he's black and you're white?" But you know, up to this day,
she still calls you uncle.
She calls me uncle.
Yeah.
If I go up to her workplace and say, "Tell her your uncle is here," and one lady looked at me one day and I went there.
Yeah.
I said, "Tell her." So as soon as she said, "Oh, uncle."
That's right.
Yeah, and children grow that way. I mean, 40 years, you know, but they still call you uncle. So we need to teach our children to respect other people.
Yeah.
So that when they tell them don't do that, don't they, you know. But you got to know the people, because you will have some people who are not what they claim to be.
And guess what? When we talk about sparing the rod or sparing the child, the reality is, the better the relationship, the less the need.
Yeah, for the gloves.
For the gloves.
Yeah, that's a good talking point there. And I think we need to have that good relationship.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Let it be.
Let it be.
Yep.